ready to go.
You and me, a dream team.
Very good choice, my friend. Let's go for the title defense.
What an incredible race weekend here in Brands Hatch, the second round of the DTM 2013, and we have the highlights for you. Please do enjoy.
Thanks very much, Eve, and welcome to the team. Yes, the second round of the 2013 DTM here at the Kent track of Brands Hatch. Activity down on the grid, the Union Jack ways for three British drivers. Gary Paffett from Mercedes-Benz, who won from the pole position a year ago. We'll have Jamie Green out there, now switched from Mercedes to Audi, but Brands has never been a happy hunting ground for him. And of course, there's Andy Priaulx, the former World Touring Car Champion. There is Gary with Gerhard Unger, the boss of HWA, who run the main Mercedes cars. There's Jamie Green with Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. And the third of our Brits, Andy Priaulx. But it was another BMW driver who won the opening round at Hockenheim. Yes, Augusto Gusto Farfus. There he is, getting ready for qualifying. Martin Tomczyk was looking as if he would be fast. Former DTM champion, and there's another DTM champion. Timo Scheider had a good run at Hockenheim. And what about Mike Rockenfeller? His only pole has come here at Brands Hatch. So, time to check out the Brands Hatch 1.3 mile Indy circuit here with the Hankook animation, and of course a very difficult start line. It's cambered, and if you're on the front row of the grid you are pointing uphill, but the cars near the back are actually going downhill at the start. But certainly from the start line it is a blind corner into Paddock Hill Bend, turning right there. Careful not to run off into the gravel. Compression, and then Halewood Hill and right down to second gear for Druids Bend. The long hairpin, and then quickly downhill to the left-hander known as Graham Hill Bend. Quite controversial this. Will the drivers be allowed to run off the side of the track? And then what the DTM drivers call the S's. And through into clearways and back onto the main straight. It's all action round here, no time to relax. And there they go to complete the shortest lap in the DTM calendar. But it might be a short lap, but it's still going to be the usual longish race at over an hour. And that will be some 98 laps of this 1.929 circuit, 190 kilometers. Qualifying, Martin Tomczyk set the pole position. The team started to celebrate, but it was a bit too early. The car was underweight, under the 1100 kilo limit.
Yeah, after qualifying 4, I went on the scales and my car was half a kilo too light. And actually, that's breaking the rules. And now I'm last in the starting grid.
So, because of Tomczyk's penalty, Audi driver Mike Rockenfeller, remember, had a pole here once before. He inherited the pole position.
Well, I'm happy. For sure it makes life a bit easier for the race. You know, it's great to be on pole, to lead the field until at least the start, and then we will see what happens. But for Martin it's a bit disappointing. And, you know, I rather have the pole on track and not 3-4 hours later after qualifying. But it's like that, it's a rule, and everybody has to, you know, go to the limit, of course, but not over, and if you go over you get a penalty. So yeah, it's for him it's difficult, but for me it's not too bad.
But it was still a good qualifying for BMW with the good performances by Augusto Farfus again, Joey Hand and Bruno Spangler. There is Spangler, let's hear from him now.
I will do the fight tomorrow in the race. You know, my team is doing an amazing job in pit stops. They are very motivated. The whole team is pushing really hard and is really motivated. So, you know, I'll give everything I have to come up front and bring maximum points for the guys because they really deserve it.
In the battle for thousandths of a second on this demanding track, Mercedes-Benz fared badly. No driver from Stuttgart in the top 10. Very disappointing, of course, for Gary Paffett. He qualified in 11th place, far off his pole from a year ago.
Very disappointed, obviously. You know, after being on pole position last year and winning here, I wanted to come back and do something similar. But already in Q1 we could see the Mercedes just struggling for pace. I mean, most of the cars were out in Q1.
Yeah, they were, and one of them was Juncadella, the reigning Formula 3 champion, new to the DTM. That was Christian Vittorius. Here's Jamie Green. What could he do here? Well, Green just mistimed it. Didn't get in the lap he'd hoped for.
Yeah, unfortunately, my last lap was too late, so I had the time taken, the time wiped off, which is a real shame because we were running top 6 and it looked quite promising. And obviously, racing in England, I'd love to get a good result, but I was a little bit unlucky.
So let's look at the qualifying positions there. Rockenfeller inheriting that with Farfus, Hand and Spangler. In 5th place, Timo Scheider, Marco Wittmann, very good qualifying. Then Andy Prio, Edo Mortara and Molina well up there in 9th place. Ekstrom only 12th. Jamie Green, well, he qualified in 17th place between Vittorius and Albuquerque. But let's hear now from Martin Tomczyk, who will start at the back of the grid, of course. How much could he move forward?
Nevertheless, I mean, it is like it is. But I as well know now we have the second race in the season and it looks not too bad to collect 0 points tomorrow. So I know that it's getting very tight to fight for the championship this year.
Yeah, it'll certainly be a close race at Brands Hatch. And, well, the weathermen were predicting a 70% possibility of rain. Thrills guaranteed on the Kent circuit.
I'm here in the BMW hospitality together with Augusto Farfus, so-called Gustel. Great to have you with me. So let's talk about the qualifying. Yesterday you did an amazing job. You finished 2nd place, best BMW. So actually it's a good standing, a good starting point for the race today.
Yeah, yesterday we did a good job. It has been a difficult day. During free practice we had really to improve the car. The car was not in a good balance, so the team did a brilliant job, I have to admit. With the new race format we don't have a lot of time to play with the car, but the team, as I said, move on. We got a good car for qualifying, and starting from P2 is definitely great. I mean, here the race, it's tough. The traffic management, it's not easy, so it's crucial to start up front, and being P2 I think we can expect good things for the race. The race will be long. 98 laps here are definitely a lot, but hopefully with a good start and a smooth race we can get good points.
Good for the spectators, 98 laps. Why is it so important to start in the front? You're starting in the first row.
Well, last year, if I'm not wrong, I think within 16 laps we had already traffic by lapping cars, because cars were running different strategy. They come in early, so you run into traffic very early. So it's not easy. As I said, you have to try to optimize your stint, all your stints, especially the first one where you have most of the free track. So yeah, we have to see. We have to wait, get a good start, hope for 2 good pit stops on the right timing, and collect good points. The weather, let's see what the weather will play. Hopefully we get a dry race.
In dry conditions, you were really strong. What about wet conditions?
Well, wet it's something new for everybody. We didn't have time to practice on the wet. I didn't drive in brands on wet in all my career, so it will be going to be a challenge. But I think I'm not the only one in the short track on the wet. So let's see. Hopefully we get a. I think everybody wants a dry race, and I'm also in favor.
But I think you must have a lot of tailwind, winning the season opener and being the championship leader here in Brands Hatch.
Well, yeah, well, it's always good to win races, and as you said, being the championship leader. But in DTM, being championship leader after one race, it doesn't mean a lot. The season's very long. We have still, well, let's say with Brands 9 races to go. So we have to focus. I want to collect as many points as possible to all the races, and then at the end of the year we will see. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to start with the right rhythm, winning the race. But today here in Brands is a different story. We have to think and get as many points as possible.
So 3 BMW in the top 5. So actually everything can happen. Good luck for today for the race. All the best. Thanks.
Race day, despite the predictions, it was great weather. And in the spring temperature of 16, the cars being pushed there onto the grid. Some 20,000 fans here to see the DTM aces do battle, but also catch a glance of Jenson Button and Paul di Resta over here. There's Paul.
Well, you're for a little opinion tomorrow.
Paul, of course, former champion in the DTM, now with Force India. And Jenson will be trying a brand new Mercedes DTM car. There's Martin Tomczyk, of course, a lot of work to do from 22nd on the grid. Disappointing situation for him. Jamie Green starting in 17th, still coming to grips with his switch from Mercedes to Audi. He's 14th on the grid at Hockenheim, incidentally. Just discussions with his engineer. Another Audi senior driver there, Matthias Ekstrom, who will start the race in 12th place. Gary Paffett, as we said on pole a year ago, he would start in 11th place, but running on a different strategy to most of the others. Here is Mike Rockenfeller.
I'm here with Mike Rockenfeller, the pole setter. Yesterday in the qualifying, you barely missed the pole. Then Tomczyk was set back, and you gained in the evening the pole position. You're second here in Brands Hatch and overall in DTM. So what's the plan for today for the race?
I mean, the plan is the same like when I was on P2, to have a good start. Now I'm a little bit more ahead, but it goes uphill, so I try to defend till the first corner, and then I try to do my race, and I hope we have the pace to win it.
It's a good view from here, right in the front, starting from option tires?
Yes, we are starting on option tires, and like I said, if I win the start, I hope I have the pace to pull away. The others behind me then have DRS, so we will see what happens.
Yes, of course, the new innovations in the DTM this year, and here's a new driver in the DTM for 2013. Former Formula One star Timo Glock lost a wheel at the first round at Hockenheim. What sort of progress could he make from that 10th position? Head of Glock, Miguel Molina from Spain. He didn't score any points last time out. He was 7th here at Brands a year ago. Moving up the grid a little bit, Edo Mortara, the only winner for Audi last year. And Mortara, of course, won that race at Spielberg in great style. An encouraging start, though, at Brands Hatch for Andy Prio. He lined up in 7th place on the grid in the purple and white Crown Plaza BMW. He'd won in the WTCC here at Brands, but that was on the longer circuit. Looking for a podium finish in the DTM. Another BMW man, Marco Wittmann, reserve driver last year, but now in the enlarged 8-car BMW attack, former Formula 3 ace. car is fired up. And alongside Whitman, the 2 times DTM champion, Timo Scheider. He claimed pole at Hockenheim, of course, but here he would start from 6th place. And let's hear now from the head of DTM at Audi, Dieter Gas.
Actually, we are standing here right in front of the pole setter, Mike Rockenfeller. The second pole for Audi. What about the race pace today? Because in Hockenheim we missed it a little bit. What's the plan?
Well, I don't think we have missed the race pace in Hockenheim. We had a bit of a strategic problem, made the wrong call with the safety car, which basically jeopardized the race. But I think if you look at the race performance that Timo showed already in Hockenheim, that was quite promising. I hope Mike gets a good getaway. If he leads into the first corner, if we have no safety car and surprises, I'm quite hopeful we can have a good race.
All the best for you.
Bruno Spangler, the reigning champion, starting in P4. He'd definitely be in the mix. Canadian says he doesn't like this Brands Hatch track very much. Finished 5th in the first race. Got a good starting spot for him. Joey Hand gets the wheels tightened. The man from California, growing in confidence in the DTM. And his best qualifying so far in the championship now in his 2nd season, of course. On the front row of the grid, the best BMW, the winner at Hockenheim, Augusto Farfus. Farfus, the Brazilian, had a win last year. What could he do here at Brands Hatch? He's looking like one of the stars of DTM now. But on the pole, as he was 2 years ago, Mike Rockenfeller for Audi. Meanwhile, down on the grid, we can hear from Jenson Button, who'd been trying a Mercedes-Benz earlier on in the day.
Formula One star Jenson is with me, so you're crossing your fingers for your buddy. Okay, we have to take care. You're crossing your fingers for your buddy, Gary Paffett. What do you think was possible for him today in the race?
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be here. The sun's shining, perfect for a race around Brands Hatch in a DTM car. So it's not easy for Gary. You know, he's outside the top 10, but he's got very big elbows and he'll fight his way through, I hope.
Great, you did some taxi rides. How was it for you? Last year it wasn't rainy conditions.
Yeah, it was dry this time, so I could actually push the car, and it was a lot of fun. You know, really, there's so much grip that you wouldn't expect from a DTM car. But yeah, it's a brand new car as well. I was driving from Mercedes, so I had to take it a little bit easy. But it was a lot of fun, especially through paddock.
You raised my hope to see you someday in the DTM.
Maybe one day. The problem is for us, you know, we finish in F1 and our professional career we think is over, and then we go to race in DTM for some fun to enjoy it. But it's so competitive. There are so many good drivers in here that have been here for many years, and also the youngsters coming through. It's a very competitive atmosphere and series, so you've really got to be on it. You've got to be fully focused to race in DTM.
Okay, so welcome to the DTM, and thanks a lot. Enjoy the race.
Let's check out the starting grid again, and who will start on that soft option rubber. You can see those yellow marks. Well, everybody at the front of the grid. The two that have decided not to go with that are Timo Glock in 10th place, Gary Paffett in 11th. Dirk Werner is another. Dirk, who came up from the back row of the grid to 2nd place at Hockenheim. He won't start on the sticky tyres, he will be on the primes. Remember, as ever, 2 pit stops here at Brands Hatch as everybody gets ready for these torrid 98 laps around this very tricky circuit. The Audi Brains Trust watches on. Jenson Button just talking to some of the crew there. He's going to enjoy it. Maybe he will come to DTM one of these fine days. As I said, these options have never been run at Brands Hatch. Hankook say they will last quite a long time, but we should see some very different strategies here. What will Paffett do, for instance? Might try and come in early to get some fresh air in front of him. 470 horsepower in each of those motor cars will propel them forward, and off they go. And it's a good start from Rockenfeller, and it's a good start from Farfus, but Rockenfeller is in the lead as they dive down Paddock Hill Bend. Rocky in the lead from Farfus. Spangler looking strong. Will everybody make it round Druids? Adrian Tambe we just saw in the Ironman 3 car. Down through Graham Hill Bend. And a bit of dirt picked up from Roberto Merri in the black car. He was out on the grass. Across the start line for the first time. Rockenfeller leads from Farfus. What about Paffett? Made up place, I think. There's Ekstrom, and what about Tomczyk? Tomczyk, staggering start. He's already up to 17th place. Let's see it again. Yeah, that's as clean as it gets. Both the front runners making identical starts, but of course the staggered grid at Brands Hatch gives a bit of a possibility to the front runner to get into the first corner first, as we joined Matthias Ekstrom, and Ekstrom going past Glock, who was slow away, and Ekstrom there just on the rear three-quarters of Paffett as we take the Paffett view here, and Paffett behind Prio, and Paffett moving up one spot, and Prio having a bit of a nudging back, a barging contest with Robert Wickens in the orange steel car, the Mercedes-Benz of the Canadian. Another man who was starting to come on strong in the DTM last year, but Rockenfeller is from Farfus and Spangler. Then it's Whitman up well, and look at this. Paffett's strategy brings him into the pits, takes the regular rubber off from the primes, and he is on to the options. So there's someone else just behind is also doing that. And that is Ekstrom. There's the view out of Ekstrom's car as he follows Gary Paffett out of this uphill pit lane. Might be a short track here at Brands Hatch, but the in to out is much longer than most circuits, about 26, 27 seconds. Rockenfeller has established himself in the lead then. Farfus has dropped back that little bit. Spangler is third, then it's Whitman, it's Timo Scheider, and Hand is in sixth, and Mortara. As Vitoris also decides to come in and change onto the yellow marked tyres, onto the sticky tyre. So lots of activity, a bit of a stampede down the pit lane. Rockenfeller leading. How long will these sticky tyres work? Soon the DRS will be enabled. Indeed, it has been enabled, and they'll be using that on the pit straight, but it certainly doesn't make as much difference here as it did at Hockenheim. Might just see the wings flicking back into their original position as they break down there into Paddock Hill Bend, and there is Glock. And Glock being chased by Merri in his second season in this championship, and there is Wickens. Wickens in 10th place. And Glock certainly getting stuck in here. And Merri goes on the inside, and is Merri going to tap it? Yeah, he pushes the Formula One man off. Welcome to the DTM, Timo. It's boisterous racing, elbows out. Timo Glock across the grass, hopefully no damage to the front splitter. And we can see that again, and Merri just on the inside. And I'm not sure if Glock had seen him as they came down through Graham Hill Bend, but he got the little nudge into the grass. And a little bit of consternation there at BMW, the M-Tech team, the new team set up by Ernest Noors to run these two extra cars. There's Andy Prio, and Andy's certainly dropped back from his qualifying position. And then he loses another position there to teammate Martin Tomczyk. Tomczyk goes through. And a great shot there from the side of Prio's car, but Prio going backwards at the moment. So Andy Prio, the man from Guernsey in the Channel Islands, that's how Tomczyk went by, and Andy gave him plenty of room. There you can see it from a couple of different angles. And now here's Adrian Tambe on the attack, attacking too much. He pushes Prio around. Prio spins sideways. He's avoided. He's managed to back it off the track up there at Druids. Well, That's how it looked from our outside camera. Huge disappointment for Andy Priaulx. A year ago here, he was punted off early in the race by David Coulthard, and he's going to drop right down the field. Meanwhile, Rockenfeller with a 2-second lead over Farfus. Look at Jamie Green there in the Red Bull car. He's already been lapped. He's down there, 14, 15 sort of places. Best of the Brits, though, now is Gary Paffett. All that tactic of coming in early, going on to the options, has certainly helped him as Bruno Spangler comes in. Busy pits at the moment. Martin Tomczyk, and he's probably going to come off the sticky tyres. Indeed, yes, onto what they call the primes, the regular rubber. It's the same rubber they used all last year. Meanwhile, Paffett just going by. Yes, that Paffett strategy has certainly worked very hard, and Paffett, very nearly caught the back of Spangler's car there. These protagonists from last year's championship. Remember, Paffett led the series for much of the season, only to be pipped in the end by Bruno Spangler at the final Hockenheim race. And there's always spirited racing between these two. Oh, look at that! Was hit! Or did they hit? Paffett locks it up anyway. You can see from that angle. Didn't see any bits of dive plane flying, so Gary maybe avoided Spangler, but wow, what a great battle they're having. Timo Glock coming into the pits. Here's the new M-Tech team, still coming to grips with these pit stops. And, well, yes, you can see they don't have quite the slickness of a Schnitzer, or indeed RBM. Glock rejoins then. Priaulx, Mortara, Molino all gone through. Paffett still chasing hard here. Paffett in the new colours this year for him. There's Farfus. There is Spangler and Paffett. Farfus in second place as Rockenfeller comes into the pits from the lead. We'll go on to the primes. And it appears to me the options are maybe 3/4 of a second, something like that, quicker than the prime tyre until they start to go off, which presumably is what they're doing now. As we've noticed, DRS really not making much difference here. Farfus diving down. Had such a good race at Hockenheim. Used to be Andy Priaulx's teammate, and look at this. Certainly Tomczyk having a big charge here. Martin Tomczyk so frustrated, having been put to the back of the grid, trying to get past Roberto Meri, the young Spaniard. And now Farfus maybe found a way through, but Meri is on the inside for Graham Hill-Bend, and he nerfs him off, and he spins, and round goes Martin Tomczyk, the 2011 champion. Well, he won't be happy with that, I don't think. Gets back into the action. Well, Meri certainly was a little bit boisterous there. Their replay of the spin, and others had to take avoiding action. They went up onto the grass, and we can hear Roberto Meri's view of that incident.
When Tomczyk was behind me, he was just pushing from the back of my car all the time. He was pushing me, and then I get a lot of time sideways, and then he was trying to overtake me on the outside. And then I get a drive-through because he was trying to overtake me on the outside. That is the line that you cannot go, and that's it. And the race was over after that.
Yeah, Meri getting the drive-through penalty. Hurt his chances in the Thomas Sabo car, the colours we remember last year from Gary Paffett. I think Meri still in his second season now of DTM, still on a bit of a learning curve. Glock here against Mortara. Glock tries the inside line. Lane's looking out of the exhaust, and Glock certainly pushing hard, and Glock goes to the inside. But he has to stay behind Mortara. Edo Mortara had a nice win in the Daytona 24 Hours earlier in the year. Pit stop then for Spangler, and that was a good one, but not as good as we've seen in the past from that Schnitzer team. And he cycles back in, so that's his second stop. Farfus remains then in second place. And Farfus will be in the pit soon, and here he comes. And there the team go to work. We're allowed a lot of men to work on these pit stops, and that's how you can get down to a super time like that. Farfus then driving for the Monthly, the Belgian run cars. Got a Dutchman in charge of one of the squads, a Belgian. And here is Rockenfeller coming in from the lead then. Team Phoenix, busy weekend for them. They are, of course, running a car, 2 cars at least, at the Nürburgring 24 Hours, which starts just after this race finishes. So they're a split squad this weekend. And remember, Mike Rockenfeller is going off to do that race, and Rocky comes back on and in the lead still. What about behind them? Farfus having a problem. Farfus pulls. Well, slowly, obviously something happened. Farfus hiccuped as he went down the hill. And there's obviously a problem here with the Farfus car. And the team are coming out. Wow, this is disappointing. Can't get any gears, but some problem with the gearbox. Paddle shift these days on the DTM cars. They ran the old stick shift until 2 years ago. Still going, now it's slowing again. That BMW. Well, past the pits. And it grinds to a halt now. Farfus needs to try and pull that off the side of the racetrack. Well, just Farfus with no drive. They seem a little bit puzzled there, the team. And the car being pulled out of the way across the track. That's a little bit risky. Yes, the camera foreshortens it, but I'm sure Rocky got a bit of a shock then. Farfus out of the way and out of the race. And meanwhile, Yves Scheer is down there to find out exactly what happened with Farfus.
You were clearly on second position. Now you lost 18 points. What happened? It was a massive problem.
Yeah, we had a gearbox failure. I could not upshift or downshift during track after the pit stop. It's a shame because I was running a second. Second would have been possible. Would have been a brilliant position and good 18 points for the championship. Yeah, it's sad. I tried to stop the car on track, to restart the engine, to try to get into the gear, and that was just not possible anymore. It's a shame. I have also say we ran 10 races last year without any technical problem. This was the first time, but it's very disappointing, very sad to get technical problems when you're running second.
Thank you very much, Augusto.
Yeah, meanwhile, we see Eduardo Mortara walking away. We saw his incident as the interview went on, just pushing too hard and ending up in that tyre wall. No points again for the Audi driver. Rockenfeller, though, continues on his way, unchallenged at the front of the field. 10 seconds ahead of Bruno Spangler, and then there's another big gap to Gary Paffett, but what a drive from Paffett. And another Mercedes driver that's been going so well, coming up through the field, Rob Wickens, the Canadian. There he is, just crossing the line now in the orange and white Mercedes. Wickens making the soft tyres last. Coming under pressure from Marco Wittmann in the black and white BMW, those ice watch stripes on it. What about Joey Hand? Joey having his best race so far in the DTM in the X-Side car. His best place last year was 7th place. Another big battle going on between Vitoris, Scheider, Pascal Wehrlein, Molina. There you see the four of them. Scheider now launching an attack on the back of Vitoris in the silver car. Vitoris managed to hold him off. We sweep round this uphill right-hander. Car's accelerating now to 225 kilometers an hour before they break for Paddock Hill Bend. Scheider still looking for a way round. It's right down to just 80 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour round Druids Hill Bend. And then diving down again through Graham Hill Bend. What a drive from Wehrlein. Just 18 years old, promoted into the DTM at the last minute when Ralf Schumacher decided to step down. He's here helping to coach Wehrlein. So nice to see Susie Wolff here this weekend. No lady drivers in the DTM in 2013. Ekstrom made up some 5 places from his starting position, just going through your picture now. Well, remember, Mercedes definitely seem to be in the mire after qualifying, but it's a race that's, to a degree, come to them. There's Toto Wolff, quick shot of the new Mercedes boss, taken over from Norbert Haug. Mike Rockenfeller then will head on to the last lap. He's already on it. Meanwhile, that battle continues, but Rocky heading for his second DTM win. His first came at Zandvoort. Brands Hatch has been a place that's been very good to him, a man that's also got a overall victory in the Daytona 24 Hours to his credit. But he's going to be pleased with this win, as Rockenfeller here just reels off the final corners, in a bit of traffic though. And this will be a great day for that man, Ernst Moser, team boss of the Phoenix team based at the Nürburgring, running this satellite squad for Audi. And Mike Rockenfeller takes victory here at Brands Hatch and will put himself into the lead of the championship. Bruno Spangler, the reigning champ, comes home second, his first podium of the year. And then it's Gary Paffett, third. Great drive up through the field. Then Rob Wickens, best performance for the Canadian. Great run by Marco Wittmann, and Joey Hand's his best DTM finish. And of course, the celebrations at Audi. Wolfgang Ulrich, Dieter Gas. And we can hear from the Team Phoenix boss.
Congratulations, wire-to-wire victory for you. Sensational today.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, and Hockenheim was not so good, and here we start really from the pole position and can finish the race on the first position in the first position. So we are really happy, and now we have not the time to make a party because we have to go to Nürburgring where it's also a race. So we are happy.
We're back in the paddock. Gary Paffett not a happy man at all. In fact, he's shocked. He's been handed a 5-second post-race penalty for not slowing down sufficiently under the yellow flag. It's dropped him to 6th place.
I don't know. I mean, the speed I was driving at was perfectly safe. I saw the yellow flag. I saw the incident. I had to slow down the lap before the yellow flag to avoid the incident. So I don't know what reference lap they took, but probably the one where I was slowing down to avoid the crash. So I don't understand the system of reference lap. I don't understand having to slow down half a second, because under a lot of the yellow flags, we were braking on the straight to try and slow down, which is so dangerous. So the rule is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and I gained absolutely nothing by if I was 1/10 too quick, and I lost, 3 positions.
Yeah, agree entirely. But what about Rob Wickens? He is promoted to 3rd place, and he had to run to the podium ceremony. It's the Canadian's first podium in the DTM, although, of course, he was a champion in Renault 3.5.
Fantastic job. The second here Canadian on the podium with Bruno Spangler. So it was a big surprise for you. You had to make a big sprint from your team.
Yeah, after you do 98 laps around the Brand Hatch, you're not expecting the run down the front straight to the podium. But no, it's a bit strange, really. I mean, obviously, I didn't think I was on the podium. So after the race, I was happy with 4th, my career best, and then I was content. And I was walking back. Actually, just finished the interviews up there, and I was walking back, and they yelled, "You're on the podium! You're on the podium!" And then so I had to run down. So no, it's a good experience, but I think, to be honest, it hasn't really sunken in. But I'm not aiming to be 3rd. I'm aiming to be 1st. So we still have some work to do. But going from 13th to 3rd on the grid in Brands Hatch, I think, is a big accomplishment. So I'm pretty happy.
So let's check out the official classification. Mike Rockenfeller wins from Bruno Spangler and Rob Wickens. Then they're followed by the BMWs of Marco Wittmann and Joey Hand. And after that, of course, Gary Paffett demoted to 6th, Ekstrom, Vittoris and Snyder. And in only his 2nd DTM race, Pascal Wehrlein claims his 1st DTM point. Good showing from him.
Bruno coming from 4th to 2nd position, good for the championship defense.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's very good. I mean, not only for the championship, it's just a great day for me. I'm really happy. Started from P4. I had a good start, could pass 3rd, and then after I could overtake my teammate, which had a problem after the pit stop. And then I had a really good pace. My car was amazing in the race.
So let's look at the drivers' standings then. Bruno Spangler making a good defense of his title. He's up to 2nd place. But ahead of him, now it's Mike Rockenfeller, who heads the table. Yves has been talking to him before he rushes off to the Nürburgring 24 hours. And apparently he's feeling a little bit of pain, we're told. Here's Mike Rockenfeller.
How is life? You must feel incredible. Now you're the championship leader.
This I didn't know, really. That's pretty cool, I have to say. So, it was a great race. I think the start was the key, and then I could control it. The car was fantastic to drive around here, and thanks to my boys, they did an awesome job. I have to say I have some pain in my arms because somehow the seat is a bit tight on my shoulders, and I don't know, a nerve or something is hurting, so it feels a bit weird. So therefore, right now I'm a little bit under pain, but I enjoy really the moment.
Well, Rocky was winless last year, but he's certainly come out of the box very quickly this season, the former Le Mans winner. So Mike Rockenfeller off to the Nürburgring. And a final word from Yves Scheer.
What a thrilling race. The 2nd round here in Brands Hatch, sunny Brands Hatch. Actually, for the DTM 2013, there was everything in it today. All 3 brands on the podium. Mike Rockenfeller, he took a wire-to-wire win, is now the championship leader. Bruno Spangler, the reigning champion, took the 2nd place. But the biggest surprise, for sure, Robert Wickens with his 3rd position. So congratulations to all of them. And I think this promised really a thrilling race also in Spielberg. So looking